Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the build. We are now in part 8 of our Polar Lights USS Reliant of the 1/1000th. And we are almost done with our build. It's looking pretty snazzy. Just got to get our decals on here and got to get out to the base, of course. So, I think we're going to... Oh, that's my printer, by the way. Yeah, printing away. So, I think we are going to start with the undercarriage here. Get that squared away. Get our wires out of the way. I've got my tube for my wires somewhere around here. I'll have to find that. Get these in there. We'll also have to be doing the base, so I might work on that a little bit here. But first things first, I want to get some decals on the bottom. So I'll be right back with that. Well, I decided to start with the base, as you saw. I needed to drill this hole out to get the rod in here. Got a little bit crazy, and I broke off the inner section here. Kind of drilled off the intersection here, so that won't work. That's okay though. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna open up the old blender. I'm gonna create a cylinder. It's about quarter to half an inch in height. I'll round off the top to match the roundness of the inside of this concave side. So I'll match that on the top. And what I'll do is I'll put a hole in the middle of it, which is exactly the diameter of this, which I haven't measured, probably 5-6 millimeters, looks like. I'll do that, put a hole in it, print it out, and I'll epoxy it in here, and I'll leave a little, a tiny little lip in the bottom so that this thing can butt up against it. So that's how we're going to solve my stupid with the Dremel. I still have to drill out the hole for our switch here, just a momentary, or not a momentary switch, just a clicker switch. And I need to drill out a hole for our power jack, which I can't find one. I may have to cannibalize one just to get the project done and then replace one later. I'm looking at you, Klingon ships. Anyways, I'm going to get to work on that. I'm going to get to work on drilling this out. I did sand this down. I think I said that. Sanded the inside a little bit. Got this little imperfection right here in the plastic. And the more I sand this stupid little imperfection, the worse it got. So I'm just going to leave it there. I'm just going to stay right there, and I'm going to cover you with a lot of paint. That's where you're going. Paint. So, I'm going to get to work on that cylinder. I'm going to get to work on the decals, actually. Put the base aside. Might cut out this hole. Just to have it. I'm pretty sure this is 3 millimeter, 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter hole. Yeah, this, not hole. The diameter of the button, I think, is 3 millimeter, or 2.5 millimeters. So, we'll just put a hole that big somewhere in here. Doesn't matter where right now. We don't have the ship on it. I'm rambling. I should shut up. I should do some stuff. I think I will. I'll be back. Okay, so we have our power jack in. Right there. I might change this later if I don't like it. But it's for now kind of a thing. And then I created this shape in Blender. Really simple. Just a cylinder. And then I beveled the edge over. And I created a little bit of a lip here because I'm going to put some epoxy up here. And then I'm probably going to super glue around the edge. But it has the hole where the tube goes into, like so. I made the this diameter is about 6 millimeters. I made this 6.57, somewhere in there, and I gave it a little extra room because, again, I'm going to epoxy this in, and I needed a little room somewhere for that epoxy to go. If it's tight, if it's exactly the same dimension as this, first off, you won't get it. It won't go in without some pounding, hammering on the other side, because it's exactly the same diameter. And because I need a little bit of space there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to epoxy all around here. Just put epoxy all around here, and then put it like that in the tube on a flat surface, so that we get the tube to be upright. And then I'll let that dry, and then we'll take that and we will put that right like that into there, and then I'll epoxy the other side, the inside of the dome. This didn't turn out, as you can see. This one did, though. This one I actually got the stopper to print on that one. So we've got our stopper in the bottom. So that is what I'm going to get up to. And while all this is drying, I am going to decal that ship right there. You can kind of see it right there. So I'm going to get to work epoxying this and doing some decals. I'll be right back, guys. Alright, so I got these all settled down with some microsaw. They went into the grid lines pretty well. Got a few air bubbles. I think I got most of them out of here. I had to cut into the decal and push the air out down here. Doesn't look so bad. I don't think you can tell too much. It's not too rough. But these things, that's about as far as I'm going to get them to suck down into the phaser banks. As you can see, that one's pretty good. That one's centered. This one's a little bit too far forward. This one is way off. Here's what I'm going to suggest. If you're building this kit, sand these off. The phaser banks don't stand proud of the hull. So just sand those off. Before you paint it or anything, just get rid of them. Because these decals right here, the bottom edge of the decal or the phaser bank is right on this grid line right here. And the phasers themselves are centered to this line right here. And on the bottom here, it's like right in between these two windows. So that's pretty easy to line up. Top side's the same thing. Just line it up to this grid line, center the decal here. And then what I'd do is take a pin, a really small pin with the round plastic ends of them. I'd sand half of it down so it's flat. I'd cut the other half off the pin. You could leave a little bit of a nub because they're supposed to have little tiny nubs on the end of them. And then I'd cut off a little bit of the decal to get down to the plastic, because you don't want to glue it to the decal itself, because that's not going to work at all. And then I'd glue them in place. That is how I would do these if I were doing these again. If I was building this kit again, I'd just get rid of these phaser banks that are proud of the hull and build my own. Everything else is pretty good. I had some extra decals. They didn't say where they went. These little yellow kind of chevron-y things. And I put them here just because I thought they'd add a little color to the underside. This thing folded over. I forgot to put this decal on here. I found another decal on the sheet, and it didn't have a placement. It just, a little name, says Reliant. I looked all over the box here, and it didn't say where this one went, so I just put Reliant back here. Why not? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my clear coat, and I'm going to just put one coat of clear over all these decals just to make sure I don't do anything bad while I'm putting the other ones on. So I'm gonna do that now, and I think I'm gonna start with the edge. That's gonna be the hardest part for me, is the edge in these windows, those sensor bands, getting those on there, getting decals around these windows here. So we're gonna start with that. First, we're gonna put the clear coat on. I'll be right back. Okay, so we got this in along here. I have a couple of wrinkles. You can actually see them really well right there and there. I'll have to take care of those. Yeah, I left the windows on. Didn't quite know how to take care of them, cut them out or what, so I just left them on. That doesn't look too bad. I also got my 2 shuttle bays in there. Let's see if you can get a better shot of those. 1 and 2. Hard to see. Those went in there pretty well. I couldn't do it on camera. I tried to shoot it, but it looked like all you could see is me, because I had my eyeballs right up on it to get those into place. We have our impulse engines in, the clear pieces. The canopy glue is still drying on those, but they're in place. So yeah, the line's not perfect. It's a little ups and downs going on, but the sensor bands are in place. I also put the bridge on here, and that decal on here. That was a pain to get centered, but I did the best I could to center it. I couldn't move it too far forward. I should have cut the decal up, but I didn't. So it looks okay. Now we are going to get the rest of our decals on the front here, and I'll be right back with that. Okay, guys, I did film this, or I thought I was. My memory card ran out of the memory. So I thought I filmed putting all these decals on. I didn't. That last section you saw, that was where my memory card died. So yeah, you missed all this. Not much though. When I put this one on, this side of it broke. I got it lined up pretty well. These went on very well. They had a lot of air in them. They might still have some air in them, but I tried to get as much out as I could. This one here went on pretty well. So did the USS Reliant. We've got our phaser banks. They're, as you can see, softening up and going into the hull. I might do another couple of coats of microsol on these guys. I think the rest of it's okay though. I kind of like how that's going, so I think I'll leave that. But definitely on the phaser rays. The end here, when I put it on, I thought it was folded under that section that's gone, that little end there. It was not. It was missing. And I looked on the decal paper, it wasn't there. I looked all over the place. That end, or that part, little tiny part of the end vanished. So, yeah. The more I script, the more I'm like, yeah, I do have a lot of battle damage decals. No, we're gonna leave it. We're not gonna do that. The other thing that happened is I didn't even see this happen, but apparently this half of this thruster decal snapped off, and I found it sitting on top of the hull, and I had to scrape it off the hull. I couldn't save it. It was dust. And now I'm noticing all the imperfections in my paint. See right there. I got a fingerprint right there. I don't know how that happened, but there's a fingerprint right there, and there's something right there, and this yellow weirdness right here. I have no clue where that came from. These decals, this one for the bridge, as you can see, that set down really nice after a couple of coats of microsol. This stinks. I hate this one. I think I still got air in it. If on the video, you would have seen me playing with this for a good 20 minutes just to get it into place and to try to get everything worked out. It looks okay. It kind of overlaps funny at the back, but I've got a decal to put on that'll kind of cover that up. It's the last decal, one more decal and it's done. I'm going to give this another coat of microsol, I think. And then we're going to put a very light coat of gloss on here, and then I'm going to put the matte over the top of that. I think the windows, the decals around the windows turned out pretty good. You can see the those lines in there. So that didn't turn out too bad. And I did cut out most of the windows on these guys, so hopefully you won't be able to tell too bad that I did that. I think I left those two in for some reason, but the rest of them are gone. So we got those nice lines going on here. So I'm gonna hit these guys with another coat after they're done drying, and then I'm gonna hit it with some clear. Well, I'm gonna hit this one more time, and then I'm gonna hit it with some clear gloss, and then we're gonna hit it with some matte. I think the edge is settling down pretty well. Still got that right there. Still see a little or popping up right there on me, so I'm gonna have to hit that again with some microsol. Yeah, it's right there. Can barely see it, but it's right there. It's just popping up a little bit. So at least one more coat of microsol and gloss, and I think we're ready to mount it then. Well, after the matte. You know how it goes. Oh, and I didn't show this off. Here's our base pretty much done, except for not wired together. I got this in here. I got a little round thing underneath there. It is epoxied, and I, for some reason, backed it up with hot glue. I don't know why. I'm paranoid. But you can see that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And then I sanded off the top here. That's going to go into the ship, and I want that to be bare metal. I don't want it to be paint. So yeah, what the heck went on here with the paint? I got some weird stuff all over the place. This base was weird. You can see it in here. It was almost like there was a film on the top of the base, and the more I sanded it, the worse it got. So I just finally gave up and said, I'll just paint, and it's the base. I really don't care about the base. That's not the focal point. The ship is. Oh. So, alright. I'm going to get back to work. I'll be right back. Alright, so I got the dull coat on the Reliant. Looking pretty good. Now all I have to do is epoxy it to the base, and we'll be ready to attach the wires, and that will be that, you guys. So I'm going to epoxy this. I'm going to let it sit overnight, and I'll be right back. Alright, there she be. She's all done. Let's click her on. There we go. Can't see too much with all my lights around here, my studio lights, bench lights. But yeah, there's the windows there on the hull, side of the hull, going around. Got our roll bar lit up there. You can see underneath our planetary sensor, we got lights coming out of there. We have some light leak. We'll address that in a second. We do have our bridge lights, but with all the lights going on, you can't see those. We got our impulse, or not our impulse, but our warp lights there and there on the front, and all the way here on the back. We have the back of that. I don't know why I'm leaning the camera like an idiot, but we got the back going on there, the roll bar, and you can see a little bit of light leak in there, up in the center of that roll bar. Got the impulse engines going, got the surrounds for the shuttle bays, got our impulse crystal. I really like how the shuttle bays turned out. You can see that light, a little Raytheon going on there. The lights at the top of the roll bar, or not the roll bar, but the shuttle bay, I don't like that so much. It kind of winks in and out. I'm gonna probably fiber optic those three that are around the shuttle bay, the ones that's in the top and bottom there, because you get a little winky blinky going on. So I might just throw some fiber optics in there. There's a few things I'm going to do to the ship, but I'm going to call this good for the video. They're just minor things like that, and I still need to address that stupid crack. I don't know what I'm going to do for that. And then just little light leaks. Some of the light leaks I can take care of. Some of I don't know how I'm going to take care of. Like the one back there at the roll bar you saw. There's one on this port nacelle. I can't get it in the right light, but there's one right in the front of that nacelle. Little light leaks like that. There's some on the underside here you can see right there. And they sensor. That little stuff I can just take a brush and dot some black paint in there. There's a few here, like on the roll bar. For some reason, I turned off all the lights and looked at this in the dark. The roll bar has got some nasty light leak here. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know how that happened. I caked the inside of that with a ton of black paint and the outside with a lot of white paint. So I don't know how the heck this roll bar is light leaking. And there's some light leak around here that I don't know how to fix. I'm just gonna the bridge itself kind of glows red a little bit. And again, I added a bunch of paint under there, so I don't know what's going on. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix that. But, hey, no model kit is perfect, and this is nowhere near perfection. But it'll look good on the shelf. So, it's a good kit. It's a fun little kit. Shouldn't have taken me 8 episodes to do it, but, you know, life. The kit itself, yeah. Good, nice. Everything fits together very well. I do like how the roll bar goes on, how you fit it into place and then you cap it off with the laser cannons, the phaser cannons here, and it just solidifies everything. There is a slight gap at the top. You could go back in and you could address that seam if you so desired. I do not desire, so I will not do that. But you could do that. Yeah, everything else went together smooth as silk. The decals are crap. If I were grade stuff, I'd give them a D- because they are crap. Fell apart, and now broke apart, fell apart, and now after everything's said and done, I'm getting a little bit of silvering on those pinstripes going around the bridge. Even after I squeegeed the heck out of those things, I'm still getting a little silvering going on. You can kind of see it over here. Yeah, that's silvering going on. Even though after I put it on there and put the dull coat on, I really couldn't see the silvering. It popped in there. Do have these nice extra decals left over. The battle damage decals. So if I felt like it, I could battle damage up the Reliant. That might be fun. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. So yeah. And the thing about the decals here is, let's bring this in. This is the Defiant. This thing is all decals. And just my blue paint. The rest of that is well, I mean, there's some painted details like those recesses, but all that gray you see, the variations of gray, those are decals. And the kind of buff, goldish buff, that's decal, and they all went on there perfectly. They all look like paint. They all are in those recesses, and they just look gorgeous on the ship, and they're just awesome. They're just like Bandai level decals here and crap here. So I don't know if they changed vendors for the Defiant or what, but yeah, excellent Bandai-ish decals, crap. And the other reason I wanted to bring the Defiant in is just to show you off. These are both 1/1000 scale. And you never realize how big the Defiant is because you're always seeing it next to a ginormous space station. So it's always like that big. But yeah, and she's not that small. And this is the size of the Enterprise's saucer in comparison. So pretty big little ship. Yeah. So I'm going to turn these lights off. And we're going to get some shots of it in the dark so you can see all those wonderful light leaks for yourself. You can go, God, that sucks. Anyways, I'll be right back. Alright, here's some lower light so you can see the lights a little better. Still can't see those bridge lights at all. There we go. You can see that ominous red glow. There we go. In perfect darkness kind of thing, it is a lot better. And it's really cool because those the red actually shines out onto the BC deck when it's perfectly dark. But yeah, there we go. Here's pretty much the shot for my intro. My favorite, the shuttle bay. I love that. I love the fact that the light, and you can't even see it in this bright light here, the light kicks in and on the shuttle bay doors. That is so cool. That's my favorite part right there. Impulse engines look okay. Unexpectedly, and you're not going to see it in this light, those lights underneath the roll bar, they actually light up this section of the saucer, and the lights on the inside of those nacelles, as you can see, they actually light up the saucer too, the underside. For some reason, one of those lights over there isn't working on the starboard side, but yeah, they light up the saucer. See our windows on the underside here. Yeah, and you can see the light from the planetary sensor kind of lights up the hull too. You get a little bit of light on the hull as well. And you got that light. So yeah, pretty cool. I really like how that bridge looks. That just looks menacing. That is very cool. So yeah, guys, that is what we're going to call it for this build series. I'm going to get back to work on that 1350, and I got another project I've got a bunch of film for that I have to edit. So yeah, that's the end of the build. That's the end of the video. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank all my new subs and my old subs. You guys are equally rad. And until next time, you guys, take care.